Hey guys, Emilio here. So today I wanted to walk you guys over the exact process I'm following to basically figure out what my business vehicle will be to achieve my financial goals down the line. Um, so let me show you guys here. Basically, I just hit my limit in Claude and I have to wait 1.5 hours. I'm using the max plan right now. So I thought it would be nice to use this time to walk you guys over the exact process I'm following. So what we have to understand is that finding the right business idea for you as an individual is a very complex task or problem to solve. And it is, in fact, so complex that the advice that most internet business gurus will give you is just uh, try a lot of things and eventually something will stick, right? But now with AI and especially Claude Cowork mode, we have the ability to filter the space of all possible businesses that you could make with your experience, abilities, and resources, and narrow it down to a list of more suitable candidates to achieve your given goal. In my case, you guys know my goal is to get to $2 million invested in the market after tax, and that is my financial freedom number. So, taking that into account and taking my background into account, I started talking to ChatGPT about it and came up with this hybrid scheme. So basically, we have here ChatGPT and then Claude Cowork. And what we do is I talked to ChatGPT about my goal, what I wanted to achieve. He already has a lot of context about myself, what I do, who I am, and all of that. And with that in mind, I created a new Claude Cowork project. So basically, I just created this founder wealth vehicle search folder in my system. And I told ChatGPT to help me guide Claude on how we want to build that system, whose output is a vehicle or a list of candidate vehicles for me to achieve that financial goal. So right now we are at the stage of preparing the vehicle. So basically, Claude asked me a lot of things about my personal experience, my personality type, what skills do I have. And with all of that, we are creating the system to then evaluate single markets. And then after we have a list of candidate markets to enter, we can narrow them down to some markets that have the highest potential for myself as a solo founder. And given my context, that is what varies from person to person. And then after we have that list of markets, we are going to explore different ideas for each individual market. So what does that mean? For example, if I choose to go into the health and fitness market, we could explore e-commerce ideas for selling supplements, for example. That would be one vehicle. And after this big analysis that Claude is making, I hope to have 1 to 3 candidates that I can focus monomaniacally on and look to create a business off of them that eventually leads me to my goal of $2 million invested. So I think this previous step is very valuable in comparison to what the guru space would suggest on YouTube, which is basically just try a lot of things, learn a lot, and figure out what works for you, like in a trial and error, more or less random way. So that way we end up with 1 to 3 candidates that have a higher chance, not high chance, but higher chance of working out. And always remember, guys, that if you get into the business, um, it is a question of probabilities. So any given business you enter into has a low probability of succeeding, but it is the volume, like Alex Hormozi says, volume negates luck. It is the volume that makes it so that, well, if you try 20 times, then your chances of succeeding with one of them, which you only need one to succeed, is fairly high by then. I think around 80% would be in that example. So that's the process I'm following, guys. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. If you want the exact prompts I used, I can send them to you. You guys can DM me on Instagram. That is also down below. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.